My name is Nick Jones. I'm General Sales Manager for McLaren Newport Beach. And today we have with us Mr. James Sofronas.
Thanks for having me, Nick. My name is James Sofronas. I'm the owner of GMG Racing, Global Motorsports Group. So very happy to be here.
So James, I just want to take a minute to let our clients and subscribers and people that follow the dealership kind of know the man behind the helmet. You know, you have participated in the McLaren Trophy Series, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but it was more just about, I wanted to bring you here today so that people could know who you are and kind of your background and where you come from and where your passion comes from in racing, and we can talk about the Trophy Series and everything in between. And where did you know that you wanted to be a professional race car driver?
Well, we got to go back a few years. I was fortunate enough to live in Vienna, Austria when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. So 3 years. And I distinctively remember my dad wanting to go out on the Autobahn on a Saturday morning. He had a BMW 2002 TII. Hatchback. So those are very rare. The TII was a pretty cool car in its day, but a hatchback even more rare. And we would blast out there, and I remember, not wearing a seatbelt in the 70s there, and pulling myself over the dash and just feeling the speed. We're maybe doing 110, right? But I'm 6 years old, and I'm thinking this is the most incredible feel. So I would say that's where I got the first taste. Fast forward. Back in the States, I graduated high school and college in Boston. I met a couple of guys that were just time trialing. So which basically is a track day, and at the end of the day, you get timed, and it's like qualifying. In your best lap, you win trophies. So my buddy threw me his helmet and paid the $20 entry fee. Now this is 35 years ago, and said, hey, just go take my car out for a few laps, see if you're any good. And I fell in love. So not only was I loving the fact that I'm maybe tickling 120 miles an hour in a Volkswagen GTI back at the time, but I got a taste of some success. I finished first out of 3 guys. So, humble success.
You were going to get a podium regardless.
But the addition, I'm like, listen, that carried me through to, today. But I think the biggest thing was my brother and I were doing this together. We were known as Greek Brothers Racing. So my heritage is Greek, if you can figure that out. But in doing so, we kind of it was a homegrown program. So we had corporate jobs after college, but we wanted to fund our racing. So it was basically make as much money as you could, which we were in medical sales at the time after college, which was a great career. It allowed us to travel. So we blow out on Wednesday nights, we go to races and test on Thursday, Friday, and then participate, and then come back and then hustle again and make as much money. So this is in Boston in the 90s, and we're in our 20s. And basically, the racing bug, which I'm sure you can understand, is like a drug. So once you get the bug, it's about how do I get into the sport? How do I manage my decisions? How do I afford it? How do I handle the logistics? So I started figuring that all on my own. And then when I moved to Orange County, Newport Beach in the late 90s, I thought to myself, wow, this is the place where people want to start getting into racing. Look at the cars, look at the weather, look at this area. It's amazing, but there were no tuning shops or race shops in Orange County. So I thought to myself, let me carry on my racing experience, build a shop, start building a program. And fast forward, we do customer racing programs, we do factory racing programs, and everything in the middle. It's basically taking a guy like you, Nick, and saying, hey, do you want to start racing? Well, we can handle everything. We can get you the car. We have the transporters, the equipment, the tools, the engineers, the driver coaches, the data analysts, everything for you to show up and race. So that's kind of a lot right there, but it just shows you that just one little taste at the track can trigger a passion that, luckily for me and fortunate for me, opened up a career for me, and I went full-time in GMG with 2008, and been nonstop since. So I love what I do, and I'm lucky to do it.
Yeah, so you and I have known each other a long time. I came to Orange County in 2011, and I think you and I met shortly afterwards, because our dealership in Costa Mesa used to be very close to the GMG facility in Santa Ana right there. So yeah, I think it was really the first time that you really got a chance to experience the McLaren was when we went out to the Thermal Club, which was probably 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. And I probably can find the photograph photograph and we can put it up for everybody to see, but we were out there in a 12C Spider at the Thermal Club before there was any big fancy hospitality and houses and big workshops and everything. It was a track in the middle of the desert.
Yep.
And we drove a 12C out there with some potential clients and just had a blast.
I remember that day quite well because we had documented it on a YouTube video back in the day. Throw a couple of GoPros on anything and you can get some nice content. But I mean, for those of you who don't know the Thermal Club, I mean, it's now a very prestigious private motorsport country club. Instead of golfing, you race cars and you can practice or race or enjoy driving your car on track. So back then, when they had just finished the paving of the first track, there was nothing there, basically an easy up tent, a cooler with some water bottles, and that was it. But we couldn't have been more excited. When I had met you, you were kind enough to bring out the 12C. You're like, throw me the keys. Hey, give it a shot. And I was so excited because I knew this was the beginning of something special. So you can imagine brand new track in the Palm Springs area with massive plans for expansion, for incredible hospitality and amenities, clubhouse, restaurants, and now today, fast forward, the place is world class.
Yeah, go 10 years later and now you guys have found it important to be at the track. So you made the decision to move your business here locally in the center of Orange County, and you guys moved out to the Thermal Club. And so now you've got your amazing facility out there, big, huge shop with parts department and everything is out there, and you guys are within footsteps of a racetrack.
Well, it was always a vision, and it came to fruition about a year ago when we finally finished the build. But I knew being on property was going to be the future of GMG. We cater to the racer. So what better place to be than trackside? As you mentioned, we're like 20 seconds from pit lane. So a world-class facility within a world-class facility. So 28,000 square foot shop, in-ground lifts, state-of-the-art equipment, everything brand new, the ability to store cars and work on them, as well as a lounge to entertain and a locker room for our members. I mean, we built it to be something, relevant for 100 years. We wanted to build something everlasting. So it's been amazing. I mean, you've seen the transition from Santa Ana to Thermal now, and now we're really capitalizing on people that want to come to the track and have somebody handle everything. Just like your service here at the dealership, it's first class. Everything is managed at a high level. We do the same thing to get you on track, whether it's just a track day so you can learn the basics, or if you have ambitions to go racing. I mean, we can do it all.
It's really impressive. So let's get into talk about the car that's sitting right here, which is the Artura trophy car. If we go back a couple of years, this isn't your first time to play with a McLaren race car. You were one of the teams that raced in 2017 with the 570S GT4 car.
That's right. In 2017, our client at the time, George Kurtz, wanted something different. And McLaren had just launched their 570 GT4 race car. And so he said, hey, I want to give it a shot. Let's go racing. And we ended up winning the championship for him in the GTS A class, which was great. McLaren was just, making a name for themselves. Their branding since the introduction of the 12C was just growing. And we were really excited to work with McLaren. Back then, they were a great support manufacturer, still growing, small, but now all that history and all the people we dealt with, now it's coming back with this new Artura trophy car. So we've been really excited with this program.
I was surprised when you gave me the call and said, hey, tell me more about this car. I mean, you're known for Porsche and Audi and more of like the German cars. And you've had a lot of success with those brands, but hearing that you wanted to come back and do the Artura program, not necessarily just for your clients, but for yourself. I mean, you came in and you purchased a car yourself and just said, hey, I want to take this, I want to race it, I want to understand it more, and I want to understand the whole program of the Trophy Series here in the United States. So let's talk about that. Like, what was the decision for this, and what made you want to go back to the McLaren brand?
I think it goes back to how GMG's racing program became successful, because when I was racing early on, our first client basically said, hey James, I want to race the same car that you're racing so you can help me. So the data transfer, the video, and all the coaching follows through to my customers. And so for the last 20 years, I've had multi-car teams, but the same car, whether it's been Porsche or Audi or Lamborghinis for that matter. The success came from me being able to speak firsthand. I've been racing for 35 years, so that experience helped me not only understand a new car, new platform, but to be able to articulate that to a gentleman racer who's kind of new and trying to figure it out, and I kind of know how to get to that point a little quicker because of the experience. So I thought it was important to put my money where my mouth is and buy a car, enter the series, and learn everything firsthand. That's kind of how I've run the program since day one. As long as I'm competitive and I can add value to the customer racing program, I will compete. Although my customers always come first, I think it's a matter of, does it make sense for me to race? What can I do to help raise the program for my clients? And so this year we had a lot of success, and I think a lot of that comes from the experience, not only that I have, but from the team itself. And then McLaren builds one hell of a car. This new Artura Trophy is stout, it's fast, it's good looking, it ticks all the boxes. So winning a championship this year was the goal, and we succeeded.
Well, you and I have talked about a lot about what this car can provide to your average and what we consider like an amateur driver. So we get a client that comes in that maybe has a little bit of experience or maybe no experience at all. And when you drove this car for the first time last year, the first thing out of your mouth was like, wow, that's an easy car to drive. It doesn't wear you out. It doesn't beat you up. Because some of these cars, some of these race cars, what's intimidating about a race car is they're aggressive. So what are some of the aspects of this car that you really liked, and why have some of our clients, my clients, your clients, what are some of the comments that they've made about the car?
Well, you talk about gentleman racing. So these guys are not doing it for a living. They're not, a 20-year-old hotshot trying to be the next F1 driver. Most of the clients that are running in this series are gentleman drivers. And a gentleman driver is someone who has an immense passion for it and a desire, but it's not their day job. So it has to be fun. And for me, I've raced all different brands across the board. And the first thing I noticed was the car, although it's very fast, with push to pass, 620 horsepower, it's as fast of a car down the straightaway as anything else we race. But what I noticed was the balance of the car. So when you have weight transfer, let's say you're braking heavy into a corner and you have a massive amount of waist transfer and the rear wants to step out, the stability control and traction control in this car is amazing. And because it's a mid-engine and because the chassis is so precise, as you mentioned, the client needs to have fun. It needs to be an enjoyable experience, and you can get as much performance out of this car as a pro and not be 5 seconds slower. This car driven by a pro and then put the AM in is so close in lap time versus some of the other manufacturers. You put a pro and an AM in, there's like a big delta because the pro has to manhandle the car, has to overdrive it and be on the edge, and it's moving so much. This car rewards confidence because it is so easy to drive, and in doing so, it's fast. This car's lap times are impressive, just shy of a GT3 spec race car. So you've got a lot of performance in an envelope in a spec series, which makes it very compelling for a gentleman racer.
Yeah, so for the people that don't know, you take a GT4 car that can go race in a homologated race series, and they have BOP and stuff, and you're racing against other manufactured GT4s. The trophy car, McLaren takes what's already great about a GT4 and they just make it better. More power, more aero, stiffer suspension uprights, things that just make the car almost kind of like an unlimited. You dream it up, they can drive it, and you're competing against 20, 25 other guys that have the same exact car, the same exact McLaren as well. So everybody has the same vehicle, and then it really just comes down to the driver, correct?
Exactly. That's why spec racing, which is single manufacturer racing, is so much fun, because it's not about BOP, which is the balance of performance, which basically the sanctioning bodies will try to even out, a McLaren and a BMW and an Aston Martin, and sometimes they don't get it right. Some cars may be slower down the straightaway, or they have too much weight added. But in a spec series, they're unlimited. So the cars are meant to run without any restriction, and everyone's supposed to have the same car, so equal opportunity for success. But I think when McLaren did the trophy series, bigger wheels and tires, the bigger aero, more power, it's everything you want as in a race car. And so now you're running it in a spec series. But as I mentioned, these cars are very capable. So it's not like it's a dumbed down class. If anything, it's the opposite. It's a highly modified, open performance envelope that allows someone to really enjoy the ultimate performance out of this car. So it's worked out really well.
And it's got air conditioning? So
it has air conditioning, which is nice. There's actually, all cars should have air conditioning, because there's nothing more of a nuisance in racing a car that you're boiling inside, because there's no real airflow. So it was 4 settings on the air conditioning. So depends.
And it
how
makes a
cool
big
you wanna
difference
be.
for, and excuse me for saying this, but somebody of your age, right? Because
Yeah.
the older guys, it tends to make a big difference compared to some of these younger guys that are in their early 20s, where they just work it out. They got more stamina. They just, So for air conditioning, it makes a big difference in a gentleman's series like this. It's more comfortable.
Well, most drivers are putting in some kind of a cooling mechanism already. So you may as well have the manufacturer add in a factory air conditioning system, because it's going to be more reliable and it's already built in. So everyone's like, oh, I don't need a chilling system. I don't need AC. I'm like, trust me, the pros are using air conditioning. They just don't want to admit it.
Yeah. So this year was the first year for the McLaren Trophy Series in the United States. It's the second year that they've run it in Europe. So they run them side by side. The European Series and the US Series are done at the same time during the year. But this was the first time for the United States to have the series here. Tell me a little bit about your impressions on how did McLaren do in terms of the support for not only a team and the driver, but also for spectators, for friends and family that come and watch, for the dealer network. Like, what did you see that really stood out to you about the series this year?
I would say the biggest difference from when we raced this car prior in 2017 was the infrastructure was in place. So they had a hierarchy of staff within the McLaren racing program that you could call on, whether it's logistics, planning, car sales, parts. So that behind the scenes, that's very important, because racing a car, there's no, we'll do it next week. No, the race event is now and we have to be prepared. So I was impressed with the level of preparation and logistics that were in place. That's important. As far as the experience itself, the cars, as I've said multiple times, the car is incredibly fun to drive. I've been lucky to drive a lot of cool cars, but this really ticks off a cool box for me in a lot of ways that I mentioned earlier. But I think McLaren, let's look at the brand right now today. They're on the cutting edge. They have massive success in F1. They're entering the WEC with the prototype program. Their 720 GT3 programs having success around the world. It's a great time to be with the brand. Plus, the brand is amazing right now. The car offerings for the street are sexy and fast and compelling, and their quality has become like one of the first benefits of buying a McLaren. And why I know that is because when you race a car, you push it way beyond its limits of the street. So we had
no mechanical issues this year, right? So you raced a full season in the car and had 0 issues.
Yeah, I'm very proud of that. That's not something I did. It's the team that obviously worked on the car, more importantly, prepared the car before each event, and then worked closely with the McLaren when they knew there were technical bulletins that needed to be updated. We were on top of them. We performed all of them per the schedule, and that's how you win championships, with consistency. We won a lot of races too, but we never had a mechanical problem. And so look at all the championships in the past. That's a big part of success, is when you're reliable and you're durable, and this car was unbelievable. And so putting that all together definitely gave us not only the driver championship in the M class, but the team championship, because we had other drivers in the pro class. JCD and Andrew and Andre came on for a couple races at Coda where we outright won. So we have the overall pace to win up front. I actually qualified on the pole overall at Indy's, so I was happy to have the pace. But I think more importantly, Tate and the entire crew did an amazing job preparing the cars and make them bulletproof reliable. But the McLaren experience, so at the track, the hospitality is like F1. It's unbelievable, from the food and the drink offerings, but just the display and the environment. Their hospitality, you're inside there, you feel like you're at some European F1 event.
The trailer was incredible.
Yeah.
The food.
That's the problem. The food's too good.
The food was good.
I loaded up a little too much before a few races, but I think for the most part, it's the experience. My wife and kids have been to some of the races, but my clients, they bring their spouses and some of their friends, and that they're going to be taken care of. The hospitality is amazing, and that's a big part of these weekends. So you get a lot of practice with the series, 2 one-hour sessions on Friday, which is a lot, versus some of the series on that weekend don't get as much practice time. And then they have really nice race slots for the Saturday, Sunday races. So the experience is first level, as you can imagine with McLaren. The car is super sexy and fun and fast. and the experience is amazing. And for their first year in North America, I mean, A+, because I have now so many people interested in running the series.
Yep.
And you and I are going to be working on that in a couple of weeks at the Thermal Club, testing some new race cars. So it's a great time to be with McLaren, and winning a championship to keep the momentum going into next year was great, but I'm looking forward to 2026.
I think I was probably most impressed with the level of support that the teams and the dealers got from the UK team that came over, because you have the US team here, which is still kind of a small organization, but the experience that the UK team has, since they've already run the series for 1 year, plus the guys that are coming, the engineers and the developers and stuff from the factory were coming over. So every race in the United States, you saw guys, men and women in orange shirts that were there coming to each booth, each race trailer, whatever, and they were there to support the drivers and the teams with technical assistance. There was 2 massive trailers for parts. So if you did need something like a splitter or, God forbid, a gearbox or something like that, they had all the parts on hand to where you could get you back on, and your race weekend is not ruined if you lose a fender or something. That was really impressive to me.
That's a big part. I didn't really touch on it as much as I should. The parts support at the track. Cy and Susan Jerry that own CSJ Motorsport, they are the contracted team that manages the parts in the United States. So they have a depot in Texas, and they have semis that run around the country to follow races. So without that, sometimes you're not able to buy all the spares you want and take them around. But having that trailer is vital to the success of the series, because it keeps the cars on track. Now, luckily, we didn't hit anything with our car, so we didn't need much at all. But, whether it's suspension pieces, pads, rotors, all that stuff, splitters, bumpers, like you said, it's nice to have them trackside for sure.
Yeah. It was that was probably the most impressive part to me, is the level of support that you guys got from the UK and the US team. So, and the hospitality was amazing. It's a great place for people to kind of congregate. Anytime that I had clients that were coming to watch the race, it was nice just to say, hey, meet me at the hospitality suite. It was kind of like a home base for everybody. You could watch the race inside. You had air conditioning. You could get out of the sun if you wanted to. The catering was amazing. The desserts, the drinks, and then there was the outside patio area as well, which is just kind of a cool lounge atmosphere. And then also the support from the US team providing road cars to do hot laps for clients, to get out there with a professional driver and then to just hoon these things around the racetrack was just awesome. So I was super impressed with the whole thing this year.
Well, I think a lot of people were impressed. I think that's why there's so much momentum going into 2026. And we hope to have a 4-car program, so we'll double the program from last year. And even in thermal, these are great club cars that people are buying them, using them as a track car, and then they're going to dip their toe into the series next year. So, like I said, it ticks off a lot of boxes, and the momentum is great. So it's a great time to be with McLaren.
Well, we're like one of maybe the number one most memorable thing that you can mention about this season. What was the most memorable thing for you, just as the season? Was it a specific race? Was it an overtake you did? Was it some contact you made with somebody? Was it what was it about this season? Was it the barbecue we had after hours? Like, what was the most memorable thing?
I would say the most memorable thing was the first race at Sonoma. Everybody had shown up, but we didn't know what to expect from the other competitors. We didn't have a chance to test. We got the cars late, as many did. So I think the anticipation was, hey, let's see what we got. We relied heavily on the experience of just setting up cars and just knowing the vehicle dynamics and how you adjust mid-engine platforms and just knowing the rules and the camber allowed and the ride heights and the weights. But we basically qualified 1-2. So we qualified on the front row, and everyone's like, wow, okay, it looks like they're the team to beat. So I was super proud, without any testing, to be able to take the front row, win that race, start the season off with a lot of momentum and confidence. And then I was like, guys, just think if we test how fast we'll be. But you know what? We never tested throughout the year. We just knew we had such a good baseline on the setup that we could show up to the track with the alignment settings that we thought were going to be right for that, based on our experience, make little tweaks. As far as specifics, there was a time, race 1 at Road America, I was 3rd, and the leaders were fighting, and they went into the kink side by side, which is the fastest corner in Road America. You're doing about 125. And they fought each other, and then they kind of split off, and there was literally a car width and maybe a foot on each side. And I was like, it's now or never. And I just kept my foot in it and split those guys. And when I went by, I literally like cringed a little bit, thinking, just waiting for somebody to rub me or hit me. And I thought in that moment, I'm like, what? My son, he needs to know his dad still got it.
I was there for that race.
That
was a good one.
It's a cool video because I come on them pretty hard because they slowed each other up, and I just kept my foot in it. But it was close. Like, you know, it could have been bad, but I mean, like, what does Senna say? If you see a gap, you don't go for it. You're no longer a race car driver. So hopefully I'm still a race car driver. I guess my 15-year-old son he has some opinions on that, but no, that was great. And then obviously winning the championship, you know, coming in strong, qualifying on the pole on the first race, and then setting up the stage where it was ours to lose, and then accomplishing that goal. That was the point. Run for the championship, learn the car, winning the team championship with our success for JCD and Andrew and Andre for the races they did.
Yeah, without those guys and their points that they had scored early in the season,
wouldn't have happened. I mean, JCD has really been digging deep, coaching our new customers, getting them up to speed. He's got a lot of experience in that car. He's very fast in that car. So we have all the angles covered as far as a fast driver coach, and then someone like me who understands the mentality of a gentleman driver and that can really mentor them and get them up to speed quickly so they can really enjoy themselves. That's what this is about. So yeah, I can't wait. I mean, Sonoma's not going to be here soon enough. So
any memorable experience just overall in your driving career? Anything that you would say really stands out as like a highlight, not necessarily McLaren related, but just, you know, what's something that really is a proud moment or a crazy moment for you?
I've won some championships in different brands, won a bunch of races, but you know, the memorable races are the big events where you have either a lot of people there or there's a lot at stake. You know, Long Beach Grand Prix, I've won that 3 times. The biggest one was in '09, winning overall against some very capable factory programs. And then winning at some of the F1 tracks in Carrera Cup. So winning at Miami, Montreal, Coda. So getting on the F1 podium, that's pretty memorable. My son thought that was pretty cool. We were in the cool down room. We got the seats all sweaty after our race before the F1 guys got to use it, but but I am excited that McLaren trophy is going to Miami next year.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yep, that's kind of what I thought about it. I'm like, what a cool experience. So when I won there last year, you go on the back side of the track, you get on the F1 podium, and then there were like 1,000 people there, like just cheering you on right next to the podium. Not quite the 100,000 that the F1 drivers get, but just to be like a rock star for that moment was super cool. And so I'm excited. I know we've talked about making that one hell of a trip because I know a lot of people are looking forward to that event. It's super cool to race in front of 120,000 people at an F1, especially a street course race where people are really up close to the track. So I'm really excited about that. And I told my guys, if anyone doesn't want to race, I'm happy to bring my helmet and I'll fill in for you if you can't make it. But I'm excited for our clients to experience that.
Well, that is pretty cool. Like for this series, a gentleman driver, a client, doesn't have to commit to an entire season, because that's some feedback that we normally get is people say, well, I would love to do it, but I can't commit to 5 weekends in the year. I can't commit to 10 races. But with the McLaren Trophy, you don't have to. You can individually pick races. So if you only want to race Miami, you could buy a car and just go race Miami. Yeah. Or if you want to only run 3 out of the 5 races, you know, that is possible to do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our clients don't have the time to do the 5 weekend series, but again, 5 weekends is nice. It's not that big of a commitment. You're running at some of the best tracks in the country, you know, Sonoma, then you go to Miami, Road America, Road Atlanta, and Indy. I mean, those are top road courses. So great cities, lots to do around those events too, especially Sonoma and Miami. I know McLaren's gonna have a nice program with their F1 hospitality. So yeah, I mean, you can buy a car from Nick and come out to thermal and practice and test, and like you said, use it as much as you can, but definitely with 5 weekends, it's cool to go for a championship, which is very doable for most guys. But I think the best thing is once you drive the car, you're definitely going to want to drive it more.
What is something that you would recommend to somebody that's interested, like has the idea that maybe I want to go racing, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know what to do. Like what would you recommend somebody, like what's the first steps?
Well, I think the first step is understanding their background. I mean, obviously you can't just buy a race car and go racing. You have to have some experience. And a lot of that comes from individuals who have done track days over the years. You know, they've taken their street McLaren or Lamborghini or Porsche and have done track days and understand kind of the nuances of driving with a helmet and strapped in a car. But I think the easiest thing, and what we're doing at the Thermal Club, and we've done a lot of this with you and your clients, is, you know, we come out, we do these track days. We can, you know, analyze your driving skill, understanding kind of what capabilities you have and how you handle yourself when you're behind the wheel. We can observe you, we have instructors. And then really it's a commitment thing as far as the time. If you want to get into your, get a race license, you want to compete, there's opportunities to join the Thermal Club. There's opportunities for us to do different coaching programs and licensing programs. So it's not that hard to do. It just takes the commitment, you know, buying a car and really committing to running as many track events and then getting your license, which is certain curriculum. You have to learn about the flags, you have to learn about passing rules, you have to learn about driver behavior and etiquette, you got to learn how to be safe and good vision and just the rules of the road on track. And we handle all that at the Thermal Club. So we've done that with Randy, for example. Randy Highland did your track day a year ago, and now he's going to be racing next year in the Trophy Series. We've been coaching, doing track days, lots of seat time. So it's a matter of what kind of experience you have. If you have 0 to very little, we can help you with that. Or if you're experienced and you already have a certain comfort level, then we can kind of fast track you through a licensing program, which requires you certain curriculum and then a certain amount of race starts and a certain amount of time behind the wheel on track. But it's nice. Between the two of us, we can manage all that at the Thermal Club, and it gives somebody an opportunity to do that in a very high level, fun, efficient way in the car that they're going to be racing.
Yeah, I think that you said it perfectly there. I think racing can be intimidating to some people, but it is obtainable for all skill levels. But I think it's very important to find a race team such as GMG, or there's tons of race teams in the United States that you gel well with. Yeah. Finding a driving coach that your personalities work together, and then just finding somebody that can basically manage it all for you. So having a race team like GMG, you guys provide a turnkey experience. It's literally an arrive and drive program. Me as the client, I don't have to worry about the logistics of getting the car there. I don't have to worry about the prep. I don't have to worry about the setup. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I just have to worry about getting myself to the racetrack. The team handles the rest of it, and having a good team that understands, you know, what the client is expecting and then how to set it up, knowing the rules and all that kind of stuff is very important. But having a team do all that for you takes the stress load off, right? And then it becomes more fun when you don't have to worry about all that.
That's the biggest hurdle, is people are like, I don't have time to manage this. Well, you really don't have to. Sure. That's what we do, you know, and working with you and getting car allocations. It's basically an arrive and drive program. That term's been used before, but you just show up and the car's prepped. We have your suit and your helmet and all your gear. We basically have everything laid out. And we have the driver coaches. Then we store the car. We maintain it. We provide a schedule to get you the coaching and the practicing, and then with a goal next year to compete at the trophy level. So, you know, at Thermal, we have a big shop. We have plenty of storage space. We keep your spares. We get the tires ordered. We have the fuel ready. We have everything. And it's really nice because I remember doing all this when I was 25 years old. I didn't have the financing to pay for my own racing, but man, it really is nice to have all that stuff dialed in now, because you're better off taking that time that you would use to take care of all the logistics, you know, focus on work, focus on your personal life, your family. Let us handle all the logistics. And then when you show up, it's about a great experience and focusing on the actual driving.
I think you said it perfectly. So I thank you for the time and everything here. I have one other question for you, and be as honest as possible. Who's better, Batman or Superman?
I mean, I don't know how anyone could argue that Batman is better. I mean, Superman's powers just outweigh. Now, Batman's maybe got a little cooler mystique He's a little dark.
Got all the toys.
Does have the toys, but man, no one's gonna touch Superman. I'm sorry, I'm a Superman. I'm a Superman guy.
Through and through. Okay. Well, thank you, James, for spending some time and
this is fun.
talking us through your career and talking us through the McLaren Trophy Series and the Arturo Trophy, and really appreciate it and look forward to seeing the Trophy Series next year.
We'll do this next year, and we'll hopefully have 2 more championships and a lot more trophies, which I'm bummed I didn't bring the trophies.
I know.
I don't need to bring my Raptor with the bed because
Where are the trophies?
there are a ton of them. Actually, you'll see them in a couple weeks when you come out. We have a McLaren trophy section that's just for the McLaren trophies.
Good.
There's a lot of first place ones, so we're proud of that.
Well,
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.